We are on to the 10th game of the Cricket World Cup, and one of the biggest talking points so far have been the sale of tickets. Apparently, people are trying to buy tickets. The stadiums are empty, but tickets are not available. Vijay, it's been a little disappointing for the fans in this World Cup. Everyone's asking where are the tickets? Though the stadiums are nearly half empty.
I think you're absolutely right. It's a bit disappointing, and as ex-players, we get a lot of calls that people want to go to the stadium, and they're willing to pay.
How badly have you been hounded?
Especially Delhi games. Yeah, you. I mean, like they think that you're from Delhi, you'll have the access to the people who can get you those tickets. Unfortunately, the people who are sitting online and try and book, they're having a very big difficulty, and there's nothing on the stand that you can go to the stadium and buy. That thing doesn't exist anymore. So that's the reason why a lot of people are finding it difficult to buy the tickets. I mean, like people wanted to go to the stadium, and I hope as the tournament goes into the second phase, these things will be sorted out because it's the World Cup event, and a lot of people want to go to the stadium and see all these big names.
Absolutely, after 2011, this is a marquee event that we have. And Vijay, first we had the whole dilemma with scheduling, and now this whole thing with tickets.
Yeah.
What does it really say of our, India story, India cricket story?
I mean, it paints a very poor picture because Indians are known to be good hosts, but this time I think we took off on the wrong foot. The very rescheduling bit was an absolute disaster. It was an embarrassment, to put it very, very like mildly. But the point is that Indians have been known for their organizational skills. I remember when in '87 when we hosted the first World Cup, which was the third in the row, then everybody said that, oh my God, this is different. But since then, I mean, like we've been hosting, like '87, '96, 2011, and now. This is the first time we are hosting it on our own, and I think we should have given a much better account of ourselves. Coming to your tickets thing, I think that has been another very, very awkward sort of a scene, where it is. I mean, it's so ironical. I mean, people are willing to pay. We talk about demand and supply. Here you have the demand, but you are not able to supply it.
Well, I was just
It's so sad.
hearing
Yeah.
from one of my
Yeah.
colleagues
Yeah.
up in the newsroom that
Yeah.
she's bought a 1,000 rupee ticket, which is a non-India game, for
Yeah.
30,000 rupees.
That is
in
exactly
black
what I'm
market.
trying to say. The black marketeers are trying to make a killing, which was to be expected, let's face it. But at the same time, what are the authorities doing? In the sense, if somebody is hoarding the tickets, that is, it is
Is that the problem,
something,
you think, in this
something
World Cup?
that can happen. Yeah.
Hoarding of tickets.
But I think it's not profitable for the guys who are holding it. I mean, like, end of the day, you want to sell it. If that's the case, that people are buying it and then selling it for a higher price, and that happens in a lot of World Cups. There are people who stand in the lines, buy tickets. It's a normal thing in World Cup, football World Cup as well. But unfortunately, you don't see. The question here is that we don't see enough people in the stadium, and that's why we're saying that there are people who are willing to pay and not going to the right kind of people to buy it. So that's the challenge. I mean, like selling it for a higher price or something like that. I think that's a normal thing in any sporting world.
Also, what really stands out for me, first World Cup we are, covering, or we are talking about, when no box office sales of tickets.
I think we have seen it, Rika. If you have people standing in queue for hours and hours, I think to cut that, to solve that problem we had, and almost everything is online these days. But unfortunately, this time around, when they're sitting on the net, on the laptop or something like that, and trying to find, there's nothing available, and that's the reason why we're saying that there's nothing on the box office. There's nothing that you can go stand in a line and buy from the counter or from the window, which is not available. You can keep some seats. Keep that old thing going on, that old charm that you say that, okay,
Yeah,
I
so
was standing in
I
the
think
line
somewhere
and
the
I bought it.
charm of
Yes,
cricket
yes,
is-
I agree.
is
I agree
lost
with you.
Commercialization, the charm of sport is lost. Rakesh, one question to you is about, a lot of websites are selling tickets that have been returned, or are reselling tickets.
Okay.
Just to tell our fans, what are the valid platforms they should buy for? Should they go for the resale of those tickets? Because I'm getting a lot
I
of questions.
wouldn't encourage them to go there, because obviously that has been, overpriced. That is again, people are trying to make something extra on it. But then the point is, what are the official sellers doing? In the sense that when you say that, okay, we are starting at 12 noon, within 5 minutes of that, you end up, saying that, look, we have sold 85,000 tickets. Not possible. In 5 minutes, do you think people are lining up to buy so many tickets? And I know of people who have logged in successfully and they could only get one ticket. They applied for 5, they got 1. That means their tickets are being
Someone is
sold
rationing
at
the
a
tickets, yeah.
pro rata basis, which is also okay. We have seen it in, like World Cups across the world, be it hockey, be it FIFA, whichever one. But the point here is that where are the tickets going? And suppose, it was a good game, New Zealand versus, like New Zealand versus England, the first game. Because of the size of the stadium, also, because a non-India game, 137,000 is what you claim, and then if you have 47,000, if you put that 47,000 at the DDCA, at the Firozshah Kotla ground, you'll have 10,000 people standing outside. So that's the capacity. So 47,000 was not a bad number, but then you look at, it's like a cup is not even half full.
Absolutely.
So you try to, say that, okay, this is not a good number. But then it's a non-India game. And there was no, like kind of a build-up for the thing. There was no opening ceremony, so to speak. Imagine this, at the same venue we saw the IPL, the inaugural match of the IPL. It was a full house. 110,000 tickets were sold. It was full house. So where is an inaugural match of IPL as compared to the inaugural match of the World Cup? Of course, it was a non-India game. So I think that answers your question.
So, I mean, that brings me to my question. This World Cup was supposed to have been a big test for ODI cricket. Would you say, I mean, looking at the first 10 matches, ODI cricket has failed the test, or are we still, do we still have some time to assess whether that's true or not?
Especially if it's a World Cup sort of an event, absolutely. And kind of games that we have seen so far, really good games. I don't see there's a challenge as far as the World Cups are concerned. A lot of people are talking that, a couple of years down the line, you will be playing 50-over cricket only for the World Cup. Bilateral series will be very, very rare, especially 50-over cricket. And when we talk about 3 formats, a lot of people were thinking that Test match cricket will find it difficult to survive. But I feel, and whatever we hear, is 50-over cricket will have challenge. T20 and Test match cricket will survive, but it's 50-over cricket which will have a bit of a difficulty.
And if it is World Cup outside, you would see Indian fans filling the stadium rather than people from other countries.
See, I mean, like you look at this stadium size as well. I mean, that's another thing. In India, we have very huge stadiums. That's another problem. But what Rakesh is saying, it's a very valid point. When you're sitting on net and you're looking to book, and it says there's nothing available. When you look in the television and you see that there are seats available, that's where the problem is. Where are the people? Where are the people? And that's the problem.
Where are the people, and why didn't I get my ticket?
And sometimes, if you talk about BCCI, normally they said, all right, if there are not enough people in the stadium, they'll have kids from the school coming in, and we have done that in bilateral series in Test matches. Here, there are people saying that we want to go to the stadium, but there is something is missing.
The authorities can step in, I'm sure.
Right.
And also, Rika, we have to remember that every time we've had a series in India, like bilateral series, T20 we've had full houses. Go back and revisit the same stadia when India is playing a visiting team. Do you see full houses for ODI? Think again, we don't. So I think that is how the Indian public is taking it. Spending time for 7 hours of play these days on a weekday. People are now, I think, thinking that, okay, if India is batting second, let's go in the evening. And if not, then we'll rather watch it. So I think that has also happened. For non-India games, of course, I didn't expect it to be full houses, to be very honest. But I'm really surprised that for a World Cup, normally an Indian fan responds to it in a different way. So yeah, World Cup match dekhenge. That is how the thing is. It is not India-Australia in a series. It is India versus Australia in a World Cup game.
Absolutely.
So that is where I think that spirit is the one that drives them. This time, unfortunately, if we have had 2,600 empty seats at the Chepauk, that's a surprise for me.
You were saying something.
No, I was saying like India has played only 2 games. But we're saying not enough people in the stadium. We're talking about the 8 other games as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, either people are not going, that's another thing. But people are saying that we wanted to go and the tickets are not available. Exactly. That's a challenge.
That's a problem.
That's a
And as a broadcaster, one of the clear messages that needs to go out to all our viewers and listeners, and this is my takeaway from listening to my colleague Vimal Mohan speak to some of the fans, is that if you're coming to the stadium without a ticket, please don't come, because there are no box office sales happening. All tickets, 100% of the tickets are going out online. So please don't turn up at a stadium without a ticket.